Welcome to the Nurses Out Loud radio show. We will be starting in a few moments, so please stay tuned. If you are watching on social media, please give us a like, share, and follow. And for those of you who would like some more info, please go check us out at nursesoutloud.com. Thank you.
Hey, welcome back to Nurses Out Loud. I'm Nurse Tori, registered nurse and dietitian specializing in metabolic health. And today you're listening on AmericaOutloud.news. Okay, today is an episode I'm really passionate about, you guys. It's titled Metabolic Code Blue, Why Healthcare Workers Are in Crisis. And I just want to invite you, if you're listening to this and you are not a healthcare worker, so much of this is going to apply to you too. So just stay tuned in. There's a reason why healthcare workers are in a metabolic crisis, and it's not just unique to them, but it's exacerbated because of our environment, because of the stress. And so we're going to kind of go over those things today. 1 in 3 Americans, this is not healthcare workers, 1 in 3 Americans now meets the criteria for metabolic syndrome. Yes. So that's half have at least one of these red flag markers for blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, and waist size. And we're going to go over more about what that looks like and how that impacts you and what those numbers mean when you go to the doctor, kind of questions you can ask. But in healthcare workers, those numbers are even higher. And we're the ones that are supposed to be telling everybody how to take care of themselves. So it's kind of a problem. And it contributes to burnout, like big time, because you have a workforce who is sick all the time. So if you're a nurse or you're a healthcare worker and you just look around your unit, everybody's sick. Everybody's sick. Now, you might be thinking this too. If you're just like, yeah, my whole family's sick. Everyone in my life is sick. Here we are talking about Make America Healthy again. And it's something we need to talk about because everyone is so much sicker. Think about it too. It happened sort of fast. I started in healthcare in 2006. That's when I became a registered dietitian in the hospitals. And fast forward to, I've been a nurse for almost 15 years now. It's like, why are we so much sicker than we were then? Now we could talk about a lot of things that happened in COVID, and I think that is absolutely contributing, but a lot of it is environmental as well. And so things that you might not be aware of, it's not just what you're eating. It's not just how much you're exercising or not exercising. There's a lot of things that play into it. And so if you're sitting around the unit and you hear everyone's talking about their diet that they're trying, or a lot of people are on Ozempic, a lot of people are on, I went to the doctor, I got new blood pressure medicine, I just can't lose weight, I can't get pregnant. These are the things that I used to hear a lot. And because of my background in nutrition and because I've always been super proactive with my own health, I'm fortunate. I didn't struggle with those things. But I'll tell you, when I was working those 12-hour shifts, especially, gosh, when my kids were young, it was so tough, right? You're stressed, you're exhausted. I didn't feel great. And I can say this now. I mean, I felt better than all my coworkers because I had some foundational things in place. But 6 months after I left the hospital or was rudely escorted out of the hospital by security for not getting a COVID vaccine, I felt so much better. And so we're going to talk about why that might be. What are these things that are contributing to this rapid decline of our health? And I know that all of you guys, this is going to resonate with you because I hear it from my friends, my family, people on the internet, not just healthcare workers. And it feels a little hopeless, right? It feels a little scary because like, oh no, what's happening to us? Are we being poisoned and they're trying to control us? And a lot of us that are over here listening, we run a little on the conspiracy theory side. And those things are true. However, there's a lot you can do, and you need to take responsibility and start making those changes consistently, and you'll see massive, massive changes. Okay. So I had my audience on social media. On Instagram is where my biggest audience is. So if you want to follow me, go over to the Tori Jensen on Instagram. And I pulled my audience. I was like, send me questions. I'm doing a whole thing on metabolic health. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what's working for you, what's not working, what you're confused about, because there is so much on social media that is really confusing, because you got people selling things, which I'm not knocking anyone for selling something, right? But there's some motivation there. And so you've got one person saying fasting's the best thing ever. And you got another person saying fasting's going to ruin your life. Then you got one person saying carnivore is the best thing ever. And then you've got other people saying carnivore is going to ruin your life, So, and then it really just depends on what network you're listening to or watching, I should say, and where you're going to hear, but it's hard to know who you can trust. And I just want to simplify some of that. So I had people submit questions. We're going to do like kind of a rapid fire with questions. You're going to start to see a lot of overlap. You're going to start to kind of connect some dots. And I guarantee you these are questions that you've had too, because my clients, who's a lot of them are healthcare workers, but a lot of them are not. It's the same stuff over and over again. But you guys, no one's explained it to you in simple terms. So it seems really confusing. So my job as a nurse, as an educator, is to simplify this stuff so that you guys can actually take action and feel encouraged. Because part of the Nurses Out Loud platform is that we want to serve you. And we want you to feel empowered, encouraged. We want to bring you good information that you can then take and improve and spread the good message. And so we thank you for supporting us over here. And also, if you are not following us on all platforms, please do that. We are highly censored. And so follow us on Rumble, on Facebook, Instagram. Our Substack is where you can get the daily show sent to your inbox, which I think is really helpful. If you're not on Substack, my mom was like, what's Substack? I was like, Mom, it's cool. You can follow all these people's blogs, but instead of having to go to the blog, remember the old days of blogs, you actually get an email to your inbox for stuff you care about. Now, if it's like, sometimes it can feel spammy, but here's what I love about it. So in Substack, we're pushing you and always giving you the links. We're spoon feeding you so you don't miss out on any of the stuff we're talking about. And of course, follow us on AmericaOutloud.news as well. That's where you can find all the amazing shows Monday through Friday. Okay. So we have a PACU nurse, and a PACU nurse. Is that really even a stressful job? For those of you nurses who are listening, that is the princess job. That's the retirement job. Okay. Just a little tidbit there. That's the job where everyone goes, I'm going to go to PACU and then I'm going to be there until I retire. So that's for all of you who don't hate yourselves. You all are in PACU. The rest of us that were in tele and med surge, and we just love the adrenaline, ER. We just love the adrenaline, just love getting our teeth kicked in when we go to work. Anyways, a little tidbit there. Okay. So she says, my triglycerides are up and my A1C is borderline, but I don't eat junk and I don't know why. Okay, so I would, again, probably need some more information to really figure out what's going on with Erin, but I'm going to do kind of like an overview of triglycerides. So triglycerides basically the fat circulating in your blood. And the triglyceride number can be really high, not necessarily from fat you eat. Okay, this is when your blood sugar runs high. Your body goes, oh, great. I only need this much. I'm oversimplifying this, by the way. I only need this much. I'm going to store the rest for later as fat. That's really how we do it. So her high triglycerides are high. Her hemoglobin A1C is borderline. And so the A1C is a picture of your blood sugar over 3 months, like an average, right? So if this is high, that tells me that her blood sugar is not controlled. Now, I'm going to just unpack some things I commonly see, okay, with blood sugar. A lot of you guys have no idea how much carbohydrates you're actually eating. So carbohydrates impacts your blood sugar the most, like by far. And so this is something you would want to bring awareness to. And a really good way to do that is tracking your food. And I'm not saying tracking your food for the rest of your life, but tracking your food for a couple days and saying, whoa, okay, I had no idea I was actually eating that much sugar. Now, on the flip side of that, carbohydrates I just want to explain. Carbohydrates are not bad. Let me repeat myself. Carbohydrates are not bad. They are your body's preferred source of energy, okay? But too much of them at one time is bad for your body. Your body cannot handle that. And then over time, this causes breakdown. This leads to insulin resistance. This leads to inflammation. This leads to chronic disease like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, okay? So this is why it's really important to bring some awareness. These are the triglycerides and the hemoglobin A1C. These are just like little warning signs for your clinician to say, oh, hey, looks like your blood sugar is elevated a lot. So like, let's get a handle on this. Now, let's say that Erin, this PACU nurse with this princess job, let's say she is actually eating very balanced meals. She's not eating high in carbohydrate. She's eating protein at every meal. She's eating healthy fat. She's eating fiber. Hint, hint. Can you tell that would be my recommendation for balancing your blood sugar? Let's say there's that. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't know. So I'm looking at her food going, okay, now let's look at environment. Here's where we go, okay, well, what is your environment like? Are you exercising at all? Are you very sedentary during the day? What is your light environment like? How much EMF are you exposed to? And this is like, the electricity, electrical things, the 5G, the Wi-Fi, and your light environment matters a lot. And Erin, how much stress do you have? Because when we're stressed, even though she's got this beautiful packy job, she might be stressed for other reasons. And that job can be stressful at times. But stress keeps your blood sugar elevated. So those are the things I would look at when I'm talking to someone like Erin, saying, hey, it sounds like your food is dialed in. Let's say that, right? Or it isn't. We have to make some adjustments there. And also at the same time, looking at your light environment. Okay. So what is metabolic syndrome? I just want to kind of like break this down a little bit more simplified. It is 5 criteria: elevated blood pressure, elevated blood glucose or sugar, elevated triglycerides, and elevated waist circumference, and a low HDL, which would be your good cholesterol. Okay. So if you have 3 of those, it puts you in the classification of metabolic syndrome. Now, there's unique situations, but when in the healthcare world, we were trying to take a snapshot and give you and reduce your risk for chronic disease, right? So when you go to the doctor and they take these labs, it gives them a snapshot, a picture of kind of where you're at, so that then they can help you with your next action. And unfortunately, the way that our system is set up, they don't spend a lot of time talking to you about nutrition. They don't spend a lot of time talking to you about lifestyle changes, because they're also trying to lower your risk with assuming that you may not make any of those changes. Okay. So that's why they give you medication. As much as we could be frustrated by our healthcare system, we also have to take some ownership. I will tell you, I've been a clinician for almost 20 years now. I can't tell you how many people lie to me as a dietitian about what they actually eat or what they actually do in a day. And I don't really care. I don't care if I don't care if you do drugs. I just don't want you to lie to me, because I can't help you if you lie to me, right? And so unfortunately, the healthcare world, we're a little bit jaded, right? A lot of you we're a little bit jaded that you're not telling us the whole story. And because healthcare, the doctors don't want to get sued, and they don't want it to come back and say, okay, this person died of a stroke or this person died of a heart attack, and you knew their labs were off and you didn't prescribe them these certain medications that are indicated for that. Now the burden of the responsibility lies on the doctor, and they don't want that. So, and it's not set up for them to spend a lot of time with you to make these diet and lifestyle changes. Okay, you see the problem? We have a problem, right? I like the fact that Maha is at least bringing this problem to the surface more. A lot of you listening to this, you already knew there was a problem. You are problem aware. The average person is not problem aware. They still think that medication, it's super normal to be sick, first of all, and that medication is normal for everyone to be on, right? And if you're a healthcare worker, you certainly do, because regardless of how aware you are that our healthcare system is broken, we see a problem, we know the medication that fixes it. And so it's funny when you're kind of in that mindset, it's hard to get out of that. It's just so normal to go, oh yeah, there's nothing I can do about it. So you guys, my dad is, I love my dad so much. He's like the person who I always looked up to because he's such a hard worker. He's a retired B-52 pilot from the Air Force, such a hard worker, and always told me, really prioritize integrity and doing the right thing and hard work and taking care of your body and pushing yourself because it's what's best for you. And, taking the easy road is not actually going to give you better results. So he is that person. So but he went to the doctor recently and they're like, hey, you got high blood pressure. And I said, okay, great. Let's look at some nutrition and lifestyle changes we can make. He's like, I just told him I wanted the pill. He offered me those nutrition and lifestyle changes. And I said, I just want the pill. And I said, Dad, could you? But he's like older. He's like, I'm over it. What am I going to do? What am I going to change the way he eats the same thing every couple of days? So it's funny, even though we want to live in this world where it's like, oh, great, we have all these we want to do the right thing and access to changing our ways. Like the reality is a lot of times we don't. And so there's medication there for that. And anyway, long story short, I talked to my dad off the medication and we made some diet and lifestyle changes. And turns out he just needs to stop getting so irritated about traffic and about, my mom not putting his tool back where she found it or whatever. So there's some stress stuff that's really impacting that too. So to bring it back to the hospital setting, that's probably what sets apart the healthcare workers from just your average person is the fact that we are constantly putting ourselves last in order to take care of patients. And that's not a bad thing, but you got to think about it like this. If you don't put your oxygen mask on first, you can't take care of all the other people. You can do it for a while, like when you're 20s. But in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, it breaks down your body. And then you can't show up well to take care of the people that need you to take care of them. It's a problem. It's a real problem, right? And our healthcare workers, so many of us, we go to work and we come home and we have to take care of more people. And it's hard. Let's just say that it's hard. And if you're listening, you're not a healthcare worker, I see you too. Basically, I'm talking to women. Not that men out there don't have this, but we have to take care of the kids. We have to take care of all the things. Everyone expects us to take care of all the things. And it's a lot. And stress dramatically impacts your metabolic health dramatically. Okay. Because it keeps your blood pressure up, keeps your blood sugar up because your stress hormone cortisol starts to dominate. And that's not good for anybody. Okay. Let me move on to the next question I have. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention about healthcare workers. Now, this goes for people who work inside jobs also. We are inundated with fluorescent light. So your body, just to kind of give you a brief overview, this is nothing I learned in school. This is all stuff that is science that's coming out. And it's about your circadian rhythm and how your body wants to do daytime things during the day and nighttime things at night. And when we go to work and we don't see the light of day, that entire 12-hour shift, because we show up at 6:45 and we leave at 7:45, right? And it's dark when we get to work and it's dark when we go home from work. And unless you get outside at some point, your body is just baking in fluorescent lights, which is not the worst if you're on the day shift, but it's not great. But for night shift, oh my gosh, think about them. They're just getting completely their days and their nights mixed up. And we also have to think about the burden of the amount of electricity that we're around too. How good is the Wi-Fi? The Wi-Fi is excellent everywhere you go now, which just means you're baking your body in these signals. And we don't have long-term data really to tell us how that's impacting us long-term. But we do know that when you reduce those things, people start feeling better. So very, very interesting. You're going to hear me talk more on the light thing, you guys. Okay, so we have Beth. She's a respiratory therapist. She says, why is everyone on my unit gaining weight even though we're doing all the right things? Well, Beth, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to all the respiratory therapists out there. They were the unsung heroes of COVID. And as a nurse, I'm just going to say I did not understand how important their role was until I needed them more than ever. And I realized how little I knew about the respiratory system. So they're amazing. And a very important part of keeping the hospital setting going. So thank you to all you respiratory therapists. Well, first I'm going to say, Beth, there may be some self-awareness here. It's like you think you're doing all the right things, but if you're skipping meals, if you're not eating enough protein, you're not getting enough sleep, your blood sugar is out of control, your stress is high all the time, and you have toxic light environment confusing your circadian rhythm, God forbid you work nights, like I mentioned, then you're not doing all the right things. But it's hard to know what you don't know, right? So I would say kind of take a look at your evaluate, take a healthy look at what you are doing. Keep track. Am I exercising? How well am I sleeping? Get something to track your sleep at night. I really love the Aura Ring because it tracks your heart rate. I also use it for tracking my cycle. It's very sensitive to temperature and it gives a lot of good data on sleep. So you can really look at these things that can help you move the needle. So I'd say first of all that, but it's all the stuff I kind of mentioned, and are you skipping meals? That's probably, I would say, the biggest one for healthcare workers. I see them skipping meals and just like running off of caffeine. So let me paint you a picture here really quick. let me let me let me know if this is you or someone you know. Okay, let me know in the comments because I'm sure it is, right? So you wake up for your shift and you go to work, you grab a coffee on the way, you don't eat breakfast, you're not really hungry yet, and you show up to work and it's just busy, busy, busy. You get report and then maybe you grab another coffee and then you have to do your vitals and you got to do all your meds. You guys, I'm talking about like a floor nurse. So obviously this is not all healthcare workers, but this is just that 12-hour shift grind that I'm really specifically talking about. And then you're a little hungry. Maybe you like have a little bit of a snack. Then you don't eat lunch until, I don't know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So you really haven't fueled your body appropriately for hours. Okay. For hours. And you're like, well, I wasn't that hungry. Well, yeah. You know why you weren't hungry? You were running off of stress hormones. Your stress hormone cortisol is incredible and it will keep you alive. It keeps your blood pressure up. It keeps your blood sugar up. So you can do all the things you need to do because your brain runs off of sugar, preferably, unless you're in ketosis. Most of us aren't, right? But you might be thinking, oh, skipping meals is awesome. I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. I'm not hungry anyways. When the days I'm at work, it's like, I barely eat anything. It's fine. It's kind of awesome. It's helping me. It's like intermittent fasting, which I will talk about also. And so then so you have a lunch, maybe you eat salad because you think that's healthy, but like it doesn't have enough protein in it. It's basically like a meal for a rabbit, it's fiber, but we don't have protein. We don't have healthy fats. We don't have enough carbohydrates. Maybe you eat a salad and you eat like an entire bag of chips and then you have another coffee. And to talk about coffee, caffeine's not bad, but if you're running on caffeine, it's just going to keep your cortisol level high. And are you drinking black coffee? Are you drinking coffee with sugar in it, with milk in it, which milk's not bad, but sugar's not bad. But if that's all you're getting throughout the day, it's not going to help you. Okay. So you see where I'm going with this and some aha moments. You might go, oh my gosh. And then you probably don't eat anything again. You get home around, 8 o'clock, 8:30, and you're starving. You're starving. You're starving. You pour yourself a glass of wine, you start snacking. You get all the snacks, you just sit there. You don't even know what you're eating. You're eating your feelings, you're eating the stress from that day. You have no idea what is going. And then but it's before you know it, it's 9 o'clock, 9:30. Oh, and let me also remind you, while you're doing this, you're watching TV. So you're getting all this bright light and your body's like, oh, we're doing daytime things again? Interesting. Okay. So you can see how your body gets confused and then you have to wake up and do it all over again. Oh my gosh. Okay. So these, if you are aware of some of these things that I'm talking about, then you're going to be able to say, oh, okay, this is great. I don't need all this caffeine. I need to stop skipping meals and fuel my body if I want it to work well for me. Because if you don't fuel your body's going to take care of it and it's going to elevate your cortisol, which causes more inflammation and causes some of these labs to be elevated too, causes you to feel terrible, messes up your hormones, can't lose weight, can't sleep as well. So if you fuel your body, that is one thing you can do. Have a well-balanced meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, don't skip meals. Fuel your body. That is my number one tip to all of you, and making sure that there is protein in all of your meals. So if you have an adequate protein, it fixes a lot of things, kind of edges out a lot of these high carb snacky foods too. So, okay, this is probably a good time to go to break. Before we do, I want to just remind you guys to make sure you're following along on all the platforms. We are Monday through Friday, okay, completely unfiltered, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you're listening on americaoutloud.news and go check out all of our sponsors on americaoutloud.shop.
If you are a nurse that is fed up with the sick care model, I have a solution for you. My name is Melissa Schreibfetter, and I am the owner and founder of the Functional Nurse Academy. FNA is the most comprehensive functional medicine training program on the market, specifically tailored to nurses. It is self-paced and equips LPNs, RNs, and nurse practitioners to practice functional medicine, address the root causes of dysfunction, and start their independent functional medicine practices. At FNA, you will learn how to order labs, functional health reports, create customized wellness plans, package and price your services, and even how to market your brand effectively. Graduates earn 90 nursing CEUs, and then they qualify for multiple board certification titles. They also will have access to our exclusive tools, such as our Functional Nurse Toolkit, our social media and marketing kit. And I don't want to just train you and send you on your way, so you also will get access to me each month via the Functional Nurse Academy monthly mentorship program, where you will be able to attend a live class with me each month. So say goodbye to sick care and start your dream career as a functional medicine nurse. Enroll today at functionalnurseacademy.com.
Welcome back. I just wanted to say thank you guys for sticking with me. I love talking about metabolic health. I'm Nurse Tori, and let's get started. I had some question and answers that I polled my Instagram audience from the Tori Jensen. If you're not following me, you can go follow me over there for medical freedom. I talk all things metabolism. I'm really passionate about light therapy and how that's really impacting our metabolic health. So hear that. And also religious freedom. You guys, all these things I love. So if you like all those things too, would love to see you over there. We have a pretty good time. And I love that you guys are here over on americaoutloud.news listening, and make sure you catch us Monday through Friday. Okay. So Ashley is a lab tech. And again, another integral part of the hospital, where if we don't have lab techs, nothing runs right. Right? Oh, the lab's down. You're like, huh? Oh no, as nurses. So all of these pieces work together. I just want to give a shout out to all healthcare workers, all of us nurses. We love you, and all the things that all the ways that you keep our ship afloat during a shift. It's pretty amazing, actually, how it all works together. And it's obvious when it doesn't. So to the lab techs out there, thank you very much. Okay, so she said, can light really mess with my blood sugar? So she must have been listening to me or to somebody else talk about this. And just again, to kind of simplify this for you guys, something that you may not have heard much about, but your body is controlled by light and dark. That's really how God created us. So your circadian rhythm, your body wants to do daytime stuff during the day and nighttime stuff at night. Daytime things are like working, being outside, being in the sunlight, eating, okay, exercising. Nighttime things are like, I'm just using examples for you to make it really clear. Low light, not very active, not eating. Okay. So when we start doing daytime things at night, like hello, night shift, your body goes, wait, what? And so our hormones, the signals to our hormones get kind of screwed up. So when you can start incorporating more light in your day, it will help you actually stay awake instead of reaching for coffee or reaching for a sugary drink. It's really powerful. Um, and you're going to notice a difference in your hormones. And you can even notice a difference in your labs if you do it consistently, which is wild. Nobody's talking about it. Your doctor is certainly not talking about it, even though it's one of the most simple things you can do. However, it's going to take some adjustments on your part. Yes, that means you are going to have to limit your light at night and get outside more, get off the screens, get off the computers. And it just takes some intention. It takes, first of all, being aware of the problem and saying, oh, I had no idea, and then trying it. I have clients who I recommend that they eat their meals outside because it actually sensitizes your body. Your blood sugar doesn't get as high when you eat outside, and it sends that message to your body, to your hormones, to be in balance and do the right thing. And it also tells your body, oh, I've been awake for long enough, right? When we have this light input, and it doesn't confuse our body the way that the computer screens do and their phone screens. Because you might say, oh, well, light's good. Any light's good, right? Well, the amount of blue light coming from a screen is so much more concentrated than you get from the sunlight. And so, especially at nighttime, you think about TV and on your phone. And yes, it really impacts your blood sugar. So if you can just adjust your light environment, my goodness, that could dramatically change things for you. Even this is wild. When I was kind of brushing up on some of my research, I was like, oh my gosh, I had not heard this. Even a dim light from your phone, and like a dim light from your phone next to you could be messing with your sleep, which then ultimately messes with your next day and your blood sugar and your hunger hormones. Oh my gosh, it's all connected. Yeah, it's all connected. Good news, bad news. It's all connected, bad news. It's all connected, good news. When we do a couple things, it's like a positive domino effect, right? So this is really fantastic, and as far as I'm concerned. Also, a recommendation. I've got a street light outside my window, and I don't have blue light blocking. I'm sorry, I don't have blackout curtains in my bedroom. And so I wear an eye mask. Sometimes I wake up and my eye mask is like across the room because, you threw it off and whatever. But I do wear an eye mask to sleep. And so that really helps with the keeping my light environment really dark when I'm sleeping. I look like a hot mess when I'm sleeping, you guys. I don't know. Anybody can relate? I've got mouth tape on so that I breathe through my nose, because that really helps with increasing the amount of nitric oxide that you are producing. So that helps vasodilate. So it helps decrease inflammation, decrease the stress on your body. It's amazing just by breathing through your nose. Okay. But I'm like laying there, if I don't have my mouth tape, my mouth's agape, and I'm just breathing through my mouth and snoring probably too. So tape that mouth shut and put on your eye mask and drop the temperature of your room. And that can really help with your sleep, which I'm sure that's another one of our questions we're going to talk about. But yes, so light can impact your blood sugar. So do daytime things during the day, lower the light at night, and try to minimize the amount of toxic light exposure too. Some other things that I like to, again, recommend to everybody, but for sure, healthcare workers, and especially at night, blue light blocking glasses, and also getting blue light blocking screen protector on your computer if that's where you're working most of the time, or also on your phone. So it's funny, I have a little story about that. My screen protector, which is also my blue light blocking protector, broke. Like I dropped my phone and it did its job. It shattered. And so I pulled it off there and ordered another one from Amazon. And I was waiting for it to come. It was off for a couple days. And in those few days, I had turned down the light on my phone. I turned it to night mode. So I'd done some things to make my phone appear less bright. Some of you may not even be aware that it's that important for your metabolism and for your hormone health. But I noticed a difference. My eyes were burning. I felt like I was more wired at night. Fascinating, really, because I know this stuff, but I didn't think it would be that dramatic. I didn't think I would notice that big of a difference. It also, on the flip side, think about this. If you're at the beach all day or you're at the pool all day, how good do you feel when you come home? You feel great because you were outside, you get on this light noise. How good do you sleep that night? Usually great, unless you got sunburned, but usually great, right? So kind of start thinking about these things. You say, oh yeah, there's a reason I feel so good when I spend more time outside. Now, if you can take your shoes off and ground or earth and connect to the ground, that's even better. The research there is wild. So you are really connecting to the earth and you're absorbing essentially antioxidants from the earth. That's the easiest way for me to put it in terms that probably makes sense to you, right? So antioxidants, they neutralize these free radicals in food when we eat foods that are fruits and vegetables and nuts and whole grains and seeds. They have these, they're high, rich in antioxidants. They help neutralize our body's natural breakdown. And when we are able to neutralize that, then our body repairs a little bit better. Okay. So when you go earth, you're connecting to the earth's electrons. Essentially, you're absorbing electrons from the earth's charge. It's amazing. And you feel better. You feel more grounded, a little cheesy. You feel a little bit more calm. But there's still a lot of things. If your blood sugar's all over the place, you're skipping meals. And let's say you watch Instagram and you're like, oh, I'm earthing and I'm outside all day and I still feel terrible and I can't lose weight and my hormones are all over the place and I went to the doctor and I'm like, I'm earthing, I'm doing all this stuff these influencers are telling me to do, but the whole picture, the foundation isn't there. Maybe your stress is still super out of hand. You've got some stressful stuff going on in your life and you're not managing that as well. Maybe your sleep isn't great and maybe your nutrition isn't on point. It doesn't matter how much you're earthing. It's good for you, but it's not going to help. It's kind of got to be all these things. So big picture, it's like we took our bodies away from nature and now we're seeing what happens. So we took our bodies away from whole foods for processed food. We took our bodies away from being outside all the time to being inside all the time with artificial light, right? We took our bodies away from these normal community human connections where we worked together, worked with our hands, we had a lot of purpose, and we moved everything to isolated cubicles. We're on a computer. We're not connecting with real people. I mean, those are just a few things, right? Everything's this toxic digital, the light environment's really messing up our sleep where we used to have just these dim lights and we would easily be able to go to sleep at night. We weren't watching TV before nighttime. We weren't on our phones. We weren't doom scrolling, listening to terrible things that are happening halfway across the world before we try to go to sleep at night. There's a lot of things that have just basically removed us from the things we were created for, and it's causing dysfunction. And it's exacerbated, it's magnified in the clinical setting, probably because of the 12-hour shifts and the night shifts. And it's hard on your body. It's hard on your body. Okay, let me talk about muscle for a second. This is my favorite metabolism hack. Okay. Because if you think about muscle, you are putting essentially money in your metabolic bank. Because when you build more muscle, now your body is more efficient. It burns fuel efficiently. Muscle demands more fuel. So when you're eating, you're fueling that muscle and it has somewhere to go. And so if you are eating and you don't have very much muscle, you're just storing because your body doesn't need that much food, right? And so, but we're still eating the same as we did, but maybe when we were younger. As we age, we start to lose muscle. So this is probably one of my favorite things. It's like, okay, listen, if you don't have a lot of time to exercise, make sure you're lifting weights a couple days a week. And I'm not talking about an hour long at the gym and you're like powerlifting. I'm talking about body weight, start there, okay? Exercises at least 3 times a week for 10 minutes. And you might be like, that's not going to change anything. Well, my clients see big time results with little consistent changes. So I'm just encouraging you, try it. Try it. If you haven't tried it, just try it. Okay. I'll link my 1 month weight loss workout below. And the reason I created this was for my clients because so many of them said, I don't know where to start working out. I don't know what to start with. And I'm not a personal trainer, but I'm an athlete, been an athlete my whole life. These are the simple workouts that I do. You can follow along with the videos. Make sure that you're using good form. If you don't know how to do something, don't do it. But anyway, I'll link that below. Also, some of my other favorite things I'm going to talk about in here, like some of the things that I use, like my favorite blue light blocking glasses, my favorite grounding sheets for those times of the year when I can't be outside as much. And that's going to like simulate grounding. So you can plug it into the wall and it's almost like you're putting your feet on the grass. Lots of really cool things that people have made amazing products because they realize we're so disconnected from the earth that we need to make these products. It's like, oh my gosh, we have to have these workarounds because we're so disconnected. But it's cool that we do have that too. So let me talk briefly about how can you build muscle or work this into your day if you're on a busy shift and you're like, I'm not going to see the light of day. And I don't have time to work out when I'm at home. Okay. So how can you bake this stuff into your regular routine? Well, you can do squats a couple times a day. Literally, you could do squats for a minute, 3 times a day. And that's great. And if you could coordinate that after your meals, now your body's going to be using some of the fuel that it just ate for, it's going to be using that. So guess what that does? This is so cool. It keeps your insulin from spiking. So you eat a normal meal, and let's say that your blood sugar is already elevated. Maybe you have a little underlying insulin resistance that you don't know about because your hemoglobin A1C is normal, but you maybe do have a little starting insulin resistance where you can see it with like weight loss resistance, and your periods aren't the same, or your energy is really low, and you go to the doctor and now they run some labs and you're like, oh, your CRP is elevated. That's your inflammation marker. Your hemoglobin A1C is still normal, but now you ask them, hey, can you run a fasting insulin? That's going to that's an earlier predictor of insulin resistance. Also, if you notice that you're hungry, your sugar cravings are out of control, you're always hungry, you're tired all the time, and everyone's like, yeah, check, 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 check. Okay, there's a good chance that you have early insulin resistance, okay, which then leads to diabetes. We don't want that for you. And the way that you can walk that back is one of the ways is walking. So you can do squats after your meals. You can go for a walk after your meals. You can do calf raises after your meals. And if you do it before your meals, that works too. But you're basically priming your body to say, oh, hey, we're going to use some of this fuel that we just ate. So it actually resensitizes your cells to to use insulin better. Because what happens is when you eat more carbohydrates than your body needs consistently, then you start to have this miscommunication between insulin, which is your storage hormone that brings all that energy into your cells. And when you have that over time, now your body keeps pumping out more insulin because it's like, oh, you eat, but your body didn't get the energy inside your cell. So it sends a signal for more insulin. So now your insulin pump starts to break down. This is how you lead to insulin resistance and then eventually diabetes. You guys, walking after meals, fixing your light environment, some kind of movement after meals, fixing your light environment, understanding how to build a balanced plate so that you can actually balance your blood sugar. That's what I teach in my sugar solution, which is the the basics of how to balance your blood sugar. But really, I did it from a standpoint of where you are maybe struggling with sugar cravings, because that's the number one thing I hear is people are really struggling with sugar cravings. And it's like, well, if you have sugar cravings, you're out of control, you're not fueling your body appropriately. But when you start to do that, then you resensitize your body completely and you can actually walk back your insulin resistance. And then stuff's going to start working better for you. Your labs are going to improve. Your energy is going to improve. You're going to have more energy to go exercise. You're going to have energy to do the things you want to do. So it's a win-win for everybody. And your inflammation's going to go down. Your body's going to hurt less. That's what I hear from so many people is like, wow, I can't work out because my body hurts so bad. Well, when you decrease inflammation just by adjusting your blood sugar or learning how to eat to balance your blood sugar, now your body doesn't hurt so much because it's not inflamed. And this does take a little bit of time, but sometimes it's as soon as like a week. I'll have a client say, I don't have any pain anymore. And I slept better last night. And I didn't have any hot flashes. And now I can work out. It's like, yes, this is the power of understanding how to fuel your body appropriately. So it's very nuanced in the sense that you might need a different amount of carbohydrates or protein and fat than your neighbor, because maybe you have more or less muscle mass than they do. Again, remember, muscle is your metabolic, putting money in your metabolic bank account because it works so hard for you. So if you can prioritize gaining muscle, then it's going to work for you even on your days off, even on days you're not exercising. Even when you go on vacation for 2 weeks, you still have muscle. You don't lose it that fast. So when you have a margarita and you eat a whole thing of chips when you're, on your Mexican vacation, it's not going to change your overall body composition. It's not going to tip you over the edge, right? It's consistently not balancing your blood sugar, not exercising, lack of muscle, not sleeping, way too much stress, uh, toxic light environment, not being outside, not being in community. You guys get the picture. You can see, I've given so many examples. You can see, oh my gosh, when I can adjust these few things consistently, then I can reduce my risk for metabolic disease so significantly. But if you don't know and you think, oh, well, I go to the doctor, they just told me to be on this medication, then that's all you think. Okay, so actually this leads in this perfect. Karen, she's a med surg nurse. She's like, is walking enough? Well, walking, you don't really gain muscle, right? So it's not that walking isn't good. We just talked about why it's so good for you, because when you walk, you're immediately using that fuel. And I often tell my clients, hey, get 3 days of total body workouts in and get 7 to 10,000 steps a day, and you'll be astonished. You aren't moving as much as you think you are, right? And you don't realize that you were created for movement. Your body was created to lift heavy things and walk long distances. That's what it was created for. But we don't lift heavy things unless we're forced to by someone yelling at us at the gym, or at some CrossFit thing or whatever. And we avoid lifting heavy things because we don't know how, or we don't feel confident, or we're like, oh, I'm going to get hurt. I don't want to get bulky. And we don't walk long distances because we always take a shortcut. We have sedentary lives. We'd rather sit on the couch. So we're not doing the things we were created for. So that's why our body isn't working for us. So when you can be strategic about even 3 10-minute total body workouts where you're doing body weight each week, and then you start moving up from there. You start challenging, hey, I think I could pick up some 5-pound weights. Hey, I think I could do this 15 minutes instead of 10 minutes. You guys, it'll transform your life. You will feel so much better than you did before. And exercising is the best way to like boost your energy too, and endorphins. So if you're feeling a little blue, feeling a little depressed because you're a healthcare worker or just a general person, and you're like, I'm just doing too many things and I don't have the energy to do things I want to do. Exercise is a great way to wake up instead of reaching for caffeine and sugar in the afternoon. Okay, so walking, yes, walking plus doing something to increase your muscle mass. So you might ask then, okay, well, what about all these walking vests that people have, these weighted vests? I think they're great. I think they're absolutely great. Used consistently, they level up. I don't know that you're going to necessarily build muscle with that. It's great for reducing your risk for osteoporosis though, because you're putting more weight on you, right? So that it helps form that bone. So that's good. I don't have research on that one, but it's any kind of resistance is good. Resistance training is good for building bone, which often we lose, especially as women in menopause. When your estrogen goes down, you start to lose bone. So we have to lift weights and do resistance type impact training in order to maintain that. So it's good to know you can do that if you know about it. Okay, so let me find my next question. Kendra, she's also a med surg nurse. She said, I eat clean, but I'm still gaining weight. Could it be timing? Okay, so this raises the question of intermittent fasting, which in meal timing, which became really popular, I think it was a few years before COVID. And there's a lot of research around it. I think it's Sachin Panda. He's the circadian code. He's a great book on this. I think he's multiple books at this point, where he talks about the timing of your food and how much our metabolism is connected to our light environment, and how much our eating actually turns off or turns on our circadian rhythm, like our clock, our body clock that we were talking about. So light and food work together and they control those things. So if you're eating at midnight and you're you're pounding pizza at midnight, which I used to do like all through my 20s, your body's going, "Oh, we're doing daytime things? Oh, cool. Okay." So it then blunts your melatonin, which helps you go to sleep, which is also your body's most powerful antioxidant. So there's a lot you can do with nutrition to kind of give your body the right environment to work optimally, to work how it's supposed to. Okay. So we talked about light quite in length here. And then in terms of timing, don't skip breakfast. Don't skip breakfast. Don't skip lunch. And if you're going to skip any meal, have it be dinner, because you're not doing much after dinner. It's not like you gain weight if you eat dinner, after it gets dark outside. But think about, are you using that fuel? Your metabolism doesn't change at night either, but are you as metabolically active at night? No, you're not. You're sitting on the couch, but usually our biggest meal of the day is at night and our smallest meal is the morning or lunch. And it just doesn't make sense. We should be eating the majority of our food when we're doing the work. And we should kind of taper that down when our body is trying to get into rest mode, so that you can do other things besides digesting food all the time. If you can move your food to give yourself at least 2 hours before you go to sleep, it can dramatically help your sleep as well, which is such good news. Such good news, you guys. So something to think about. Also, there's research that when you eat in the dark, when you eat later at night, your blood sugar can be higher with the same meal if you were to eat it earlier in the day. So that could be multiple factors, like the light environment, but also your activity, but kind of interesting. Very, very interesting to think about. I would say generally my clients who were eating big meals at dinner and have said, okay, I want to move I want my breakfast to be really substantial and I want my lunch to be bigger and I'm going to have a snack and a smaller dinner. They sleep better and they feel like they are lighter in the morning, like not necessarily lighter in terms of weight, but it's easier for them to wake up. They don't feel heavy at night. And oh my gosh, please, 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 if you're going to eat at night, please do keep the carbohydrates down so you don't have like a low blood sugar event overnight. You go into high blood sugar, low blood sugar, that will really mess up your sleep and your hormones. The next question is from Megan. She is a family practice. She works in a family practice, so not in the hospital. She said, my hemoglobin A1C is fine. So remember, that's the blood sugar over 3 months, but I crash after meals. What's happening? So glucose, the hemoglobin A1C is just a snapshot, right? So my guess is that she may have insulin resistance or the early signs of this. And also, I want to know, what do those meals look like? When I talk to clients and they've got these high carbohydrate meals, it gets me thinking, okay, well, your blood sugar goes up and there's no protein, fat, and fiber to kind of stabilize that blood sugar. So now your body puts out all this insulin, your blood sugar comes crashing down and you're hungry again. Okay, so that's more than likely what's happening is she's already gotten herself into some insulin resistance. And so she's kind of dumping too much insulin and that will give her that low blood sugar. And so it's a couple of things. I would love to see what her fasting insulin is. And also I would love to hear, to see just a look at what she's eating. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at clients at nutrition, what you guys are eating. And like, for me, it's just because I've been doing this. I'm like, oh my gosh, if we can just lower the carbohydrates a little bit, bump up the protein, and add in some more fiber and healthy fats, you guys would feel a world of difference. And generally, that's what happens. I have clients that said, I have felt out of control around food my entire life until you explained to me how to build a balanced meal. And now I'm seeing a cookie and I'm like, I guess I can have that if I want it, but I don't feel compelled to have it like I did before because your blood sugar is more managed. And that's just the power of understanding how to fuel your body. One thing too, I wanted to mention, I've been using these phototherapy patches. I will link those below because your body actually emits its own light, which is really cool. And these phototherapy patches reflect that light that your body's emitting back to you, back to your cells. So it stimulates stem cell regeneration. It basically makes your cells act younger. And so the results that people are getting with it are kind of incredible and can really help with decreasing inflammation and just giving your body the tools that it needs to work, to function properly, to work how we did when we were younger. Because how many times do you say, oh man, I could eat anything I wanted when I was younger. Well, I'm not saying go out and do that, but if our cells are acting younger, if we're giving our body more the tools that it needs, then we're just helping ourselves in terms of decreasing our risk for chronic disease. Okay, so every little thing helps, and I just want to encourage you guys to do the small things, and to not feel like just because you have this healthcare job that your life is not your own. Okay. That's how I know a lot of people feel. They're just, especially healthcare workers, we feel stuck. We feel like this is the only thing I know how to do. And it's ruining my health, but I don't know what else to do. Hey, listen, if you're a night shift worker, and you don't want to be working on nights anymore, apply for days. You're not going to drown. You'll be fine, right? If you are just a day shift worker and you're like, this is killing me, maybe you need to think about how you can de-stress on your days off, because we know that there's so many things that are out of our control when we show up to work. But when we on our days off, there's a lot more in our control. And when you understand the small things that are going to move the needle, then you can make those adjustments. So I just want to encourage you guys that you don't have to get a new job. You're not screwed. You're not going to be sick forever, but you do need to adjust your environment and learn to fuel your body so it'll work a whole lot better for you. Okay. So I just want to encourage you that. So thank you for joining us, and make sure to like, share, and follow on all platforms. And I'll see you on the next one.
Shining light into darkness, thank you for tuning in to Nurses Out Loud.